afternoon, and it's my pleasure to once again welcome you to our weekly news program from the territory on the Unity Station NTA Channel 5 Abuja. It's time to keep you abreast of news stories and other interesting reports from communities within the nation's capital city with focus on aesthetic beauties and challenges capturing these communities. This phase of the program to enjoy the party. I am Aisha Ubali, your uncle. Now, let's begin with what happened at some churches today in the FCT. God speaks to people in different ways. Therefore, Christians are encouraged to seek knowledge in understanding the word of God. This was the message to congregants during today's church service at the Equa Central area. Informa Ojenta has the report.
Taking his text from the book of Hosea chapter 12 verse 10, Pastor Ogidi Joshua Dixon dwelt on the parable of the sower and the Good Samaritan, noting that parable is God's medium of communicating to his people.
As we are about to delve into the parables, the 8 parables, please understand that it is God using this parable to speak to you. A couple of times I've had people ask, how does God speak to one? How do I hear the voice of God? If I to check the word of God we receive from January till date, if we had applied even 30%, would have been better off.
And my key take and learn is that I should also ensure that the generosity of the seed that God has sown into my life is not in a rocky soil. And I don't allow the tongues to actually choke it, but make my life a fertile ground to exhibit the life.
Based on the parable of the sower, it goes a long way to tell us our results in life. So we see that individuals, even Christians, we have different results. So this goes to tell us it's not like God does not love everybody. We determine our results.
While at the World House Commission International, it was Thanksgiving for a successful annual convention tagged My Next Level. Apostle Jubilee Owen urged Christians to make obedience to God their priority with the assurance that their next level is sure.
For everybody in the nation, the next level simply means Nigeria will wake up from the hospital bed and we begin to walk again. And from walking, Nigeria will run, and from running, Nigeria will fly. So we all need to join hands together, collaborate with leadership, not fight leadership, contribute our input to make things better for everybody.
Ifoma Ojinta, NTA News.
Thank you, Ifoma. Yes, our next level, of course, is sure by the grace of God. Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, is partnering non-governmental organizations to provide free eye screening for residents of Garkinyo Settlement in Apo District. Deborah Gazajumaika, who covered the flag of ceremony, has the details.
We always advise our patients to have a comprehensive eye test at least once.
The program kick-started with a health awareness talk on how to manage eye-related diseases. Dr. Adesua of Eye Care Aid Foundation told the people to always consult experts whenever they are in doubt of good sight.
We are doing this all over the FCT. We're doing 20,000 persons, testing them and giving 10,000 glasses. We want to let people know that eye is a very important organ of the body. Sometimes there are many eye problems that do not show up until you do an eye test. If you have glaucoma, a lot of times you wouldn't know until you come to the eye clinic because it's a silently blinding disease.
AMAC Chairman Christopher Zakambe Kalangu, represented by the Supervisory Council of Health, performed the flag off ceremony and thanked the partners. He appeals to the residents to come for the exercise as he will do his best to see that residents of AMAC are examined and treated of their e-health.
Everybody in Abuja Municipal Council to come and test your eye if you really need a reading glass, and they give you one free of charge. That's what I've done.
The target beneficiaries are women and the aged in the FCT, as the event is expected to meet the eye needs of other communities.
After the testing, in fact, I was reading seamlessly without straining the eye. Yes, and I'm very grateful for the foundation that is doing this wonderful work. May God bless them.
The doctors advise that at least once in a year, people should go for eye checks, emphasizing that from 40 years above, it is okay to use reading glasses because some people's sight diminished when they are aging. 10,000 glasses are to be distributed. The program is to commemorate the 2023 World Sight Day in Abuja. Deborah Gazaj, Micah, NTA News.
Of course, without a good sight, you can be a good driver. Now, this takes me to the next story. In a bid to implement the Federal Capital Territory Public Transport Management Scheme, a one-day sensitization and city summit for app-based drivers has been put together by the Directorate of Road Transport Services, DRTS. The program is to introduce the hybrid vehicle license and verification card in the Federal Capital Territory. Odiri Ogborari complains.
The hybrid vehicle license and verification card apps, DRTS says it's meant to checkmate the data of both drivers and passengers. FCT Director of DRTS, Abdulateef Bello, noted that the device will also assist the VIO to regulate and enforce activities of road users by curtailing the recurring security threats faced by app-based drivers in the FCT. FCT Transport Secretary Mbonku Tom Nya appreciates collaborators for what he describes as a life-saving project. He commended the effort of DRTS led by Abdulateef Bello for the giant technological strides, saying when implemented, it will reduce the influx of VIO personnel deployed daily into the streets of Abuja for enforcement.
I urge each and every one of you to actively engage, contribute, and cooperate during this summit. Let us unite in our mission to revolutionize public transportation, making it safer, more efficient, and a symbol of progress for the Federal Capital Territory.
Put in place to ensure that we use technology to regulate movement and ensure that people move safer from one place to the other. All hands are on deck to ensure that there is safety, there is security, and seamless movement of people in FCT.
The technical section of the summit was interactive as it afforded the app-based drivers opportunity to express themselves.
We waited for a system that will help us checkmate the security of our drivers in the past, where we have also clamored for our app owners to make available the data of our riders.
We are taking that step forward to work with government to ensure that the space in Abuja for riding operations is, it is safe for everyone.
Stakeholders in the transport sector and other sister agencies such as the FRSC, police, and NSCDC were in attendance. In Abuja, Odiri Ogboru Arutere, NTA News.
Meanwhile, an educated, healthy, and empowered society produces leaders who transform their immediate environment and provide platforms where others thrive. It's what motivated the Charles Easy Development Foundation to come into existence. The official launch of the foundation is to create awareness and avenue for sponsors to partner them. Sandra Akena has reported.
According to the organizers, the Charles Eze Development Foundation (CED) is a non-governmental organization that is committed to raising leaders through human and social capital development to become champions of community development, economic growth, technology innovation, and human rights advocates. As they create awareness to the public, they are calling on private individuals, corporate bodies, and volunteers to join them in making a difference.
I believe that when we develop our kids, when we develop our society, we have a society less of crime. So at this time, we have not leveraged any partner, we have not leveraged fund from any sponsor.
Being able to visit some of these local schools, especially in rural communities, to, first of all, go there and do an assessment of what they need or what they are lacking, speak with the authorities, and then we come back with the feedback and then design a kind of program that will help them.
Keynote speaker at the opening ceremony lauded the efforts of the NGO and also called on the public to take advantage of every opportunity for the betterment of the society, while beneficiaries appreciated the gesture.
And had been funding the foundation personally from his pocket. He requires all the encouragement, and the program is not selective.
They were given school bags, shoes, exercise book, pencil and biro. Honestly speaking, children went home that day joyfully and happy.
I have to say thank you for giving us the gift he has came to give us.
There was interactive session with the organizers to gain more insights. Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
Good evening, glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
We celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The
Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
As usual, every week we beam our spotlight to some communities. And this week, this is what we have for you. Bringing hope, succor, and relief to the less privileged, as well as those at the grassroots, has continued to be the drive of the Khadija Orphanage Support Initiative. Cecilia Julius reports that the humanitarian group took its routine outreach this time to Kabusa community in the FCT.
Pupils and staff of the LEA Primary School and patients of the primary healthcare facility Kabusa were beneficiaries of the Khadija Orphanage Support Initiative outreach. The support initiative provided educational materials, clothing, and pledged to sponsor 15 pupils throughout their primary education and gave out relief materials to patients of the primary healthcare facility Kabusa who expressed happiness for the gesture.
To us here and the parents, we will be praying for the foundation.
We appreciate Khadija's Orphanage Foundation. We appreciate her. May God, let God do more for her. They have done well for us. Please appreciate them for what they are doing for us.
The leadership and sponsors of the initiative are soliciting support from good-willing Nigerians to step up to the challenge of creating an enabling environment for the less privileged.
Alhamdulillah, we are able to identify 15 children which we pay their scholarships.
We are going to make sure that we make them to feel very, very comfortable.
She is a mother that knows about orphans and have feelings for orphans.
There are so many of these students that cannot even pay their school fees. They cannot even feed them. When I see these students, it makes me emotional.
Building a Nigeria where the need of every man is met for a better nation through the Renewed Hope Initiative remains the goal. Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
Now from Kabusa, let's move to Karimo. The popular Karimo community was originally called Gamo, initially spelled with letter G instead of K. However, both have same meaning. There is food here. Hakim Oteliu gathered this fact as she visited Kamosabo, where she interacted with the chief and some members of the community. Let's see what Hakima brought back.
A 25-minute drive from the city center through Life Camp brings us to this community.
This is Karmosabo, which is translated as New Karmo in English language. It is a community under Jiwa Chiefdom in Abuja Municipal Area Council.
From findings, the original inhabitants of this community are the Gede-speaking people, whose major occupation is farming.
Mostly that is what our ancestors
are found doing is farming and hunting. As such, that is the main occupation in the community. We produce yam, foodstuffs, beans, rice, grains, guinea corns, and the rest of them.
The chief explains further that the name Karmo was originally Garmo, which means food is here.
Looking at the way they accommodate people, those houses that came, they could not pronounce it Garmo. They now remove G and put K. But our elderly men said it's still the same thing. The meaning has not changed. The meaning of the word Garmo, meaning in our language, is there is food here. That is why you can see people dropping in.
Members of the community say they enjoy relative peace, living and doing business.
Not an indigenous here of here, but the way things are going, it's okay. It's good. It's good.
Friendly,
yeah, we are friendly. We are good. There is no problem here. I'm from Cross River State, and I'm living here. I'm a welder.
The firewood that we have sold here is kind of firewood that our people, our women, they are cooking with the firewood because they don't get gas. And they have sold the firewood. They make it another assessment of selling firewood and get some money.
While they appreciate the government for some amenities brought to them, like every community, Karmo Sabo is not without challenges. Top on the list is improper waste management and land tussle with developers.
The past chairman, that is the candidate, he did all the projects. So keep the community very tidy. So we really appreciate that from the side of government. Looking at the clinic again, it was recently given to us by the past chairman. The challenges now is the way developers are pressing to the core. The entire environment or the entire geographical location of the community has been taken over by developers. Even my palace, a developer came and said he has a beacon here, which I said, okay, should come and demolish everywhere and build his house. We are still in the FCT. We have not been relocated to anywhere. So why are they coming to tell us their beacon is in the palace? Where do they want us to go?
The people called on the government to address the issue to help secure their community and heritage. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
Now, cerebral palsy is a neurological condition which occurs in children, mostly before birth. Hakimat Aliu in this report tells us more about cerebral palsy, with over 17 million people living with the condition.
Cerebral palsy refers to a group of disorders that affect muscles, movement, and coordination. According to medical experts, cerebral palsy is caused by a damage or abnormal development in the parts of the brain that controls movement. These events can happen before, during, or shortly after birth or in the first few years of life when the brain is still developing. In many cases, cerebral palsy also affects vision, hearing, and sensation. The word cerebral means having to do with the brain. The word palsy means weakness or problem with body movement. Research indicates that this condition affects 1 to 4 out of every 1,000 children born worldwide. The symptoms of cerebral palsy vary from person to person and range from mild to severe. Some people with cerebral palsy may have difficulty walking and sitting. For others, they can have troubles grasping objects. The effect of the condition can become more or less obvious or limiting as the child grows and develops motor skills. They also vary depending on the part of the brain that was affected. Most children with cerebral palsy are born with it, but some may not show signs of it until months or years later. With the vision to create global awareness about cerebral palsy, the World Cerebral Palsy Day is observed 6th October every year. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
That's just one condition that affects children. Now, marking the anniversary of the Founders' Day of Queen's College, Lagos, has been a wake-up call to stakeholders in the education sector not to compromise the standard of education in Nigeria. This was the message of the Abuja branch of the Old Girls Association carried out work at the Katampe area of the FCT to commemorate the school's 96th anniversary.
96 years commemoration by Old Girls of Queen's College Abuja branch started with a work, then fundraising among members to support their alma mater. Every anniversary, the Old Girls Association converged at different points across the country and internationally to mark the Founders' Day. Zainab Saleh is the vice president too of the Abuja branch of the association.
We see the intelligence coming out of them. So it's for us to go back to the drawing board and find out what exactly has gone wrong. You know, it's just the issue of what's happening in society that you're seeing reflecting in the educational system.
Professor Christine Ofoli from the class of 1980 and member board of trustees decries the decay in the education sector.
Queen's College and the work that we have been doing. So we do the walkathon and get our networks to raise funds, and so those funds go to trying to help the school.
You can even hear the way the girls are speaking. You can hear the diction. You can see how coordinated they are. This is what is lacking in most schools today. The Queen's College that I went to is not the Queen's College that is there today. It's very, very different.
The Queens were backed up by the chairman, King's College Old Boys Association Abuja branch, Emmanuel Mobolu.
We've always had the history of collaborating with our Queens, and so this year is no exception. So I'm so excited to be part of this whole event.
We already doing a mentorship program. Really, it's just to build confidence, to build future-ready ladies that are confident ladies, because every QC girl is very, very confident. And so we want to try and maintain that.
Holding on to sisterhood, members of the association said their experiences back then in school can never be forgotten in a hurry. In Abuja, Deborah Gazaji Micah, NTA News.
Now, life is a mix. While this group were celebrating, some people were in agony due to a recent crash. Two fatally injured victims of a multiple traffic crash on Saturday at Mabushi Federal Capital Territory. Mabushi Federal Capital are currently receiving treatment at the National Hospital, Abuja. Our correspondent, Onoti Yakubu, who was at the scene of the crash, brings us an eyewitness account.
The road traffic crash occurred at about 8:30 in the morning. 3 vehicles, a Honda Accord, Volkswagen Golf, and a Mazda were involved. Eyewitness and victims' accounts indicate that the Honda Accord driver lost control in an attempt to escape a couple of bus stop touts who were dragging steering wheel with him. In the process, the Honda crashed into the 2 other vehicles on motion and passengers who were standing by to board taxis.
I was on my own, inside my own car coming. There is a vehicle that was coming. It's like the people were trying to stop the vehicle from carrying passengers. And the other one trying to drag the steering with another one. It was made to hit the other cars. And from there, it happened that many people were about to enter the vehicle. That is how it fell about 2 and enter across the gutters. So,
on my speed, I didn't park. You know, look the car. It didn't hit me. Maybe I park. I did not park. I'm on my way home. I just hear something from my back. So before you hit another. That's what happened. You had persons in your car. What is the state of the passengers in your vehicle? I don't know how people are like this.
2 of the bus stop victims were fatally injured, with a handful occupants of the vehicles also sustaining minor degree of injuries. However, operatives of the Mabushi Police Division, assisted by onlookers, mobilized the victims to the hospital. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And until we just hope that people will exercise more patience while using the road. And it's on that note we wrap our territory this week. Please do join us again next week for more interesting reports from the communities. I am Aisha Ubali. Have a lovely weekend.